Hi everyone, good afternoon, good morning, and welcome to our third All-Staff of this year. I am together here with Claudio, our Group CEO, and Jonathan, our Group CFO, and we have a nice agenda for you. But before we go in, we are here hosted by the team in Ghent. It's really lovely weather, it's sunny, 25 degrees, so that's a good baseline for us to start. Before I go in the agenda, I would like to share that during the previous All-Staff, we received some feedback about presenting skills. And one of the feedback is that I say a lot of So I'm going to put a target for myself to say a minimal amount of and then maybe you can help me count, and then I'm going to improve the next time. So with that said, the agenda for today is an introduction by Claudio, of course. We have Jonathan presenting the financial results. We will look at our strategic commitments. We will cover our values, and then we have some questions from colleagues. So with that said, I hand over to you, Claudio.
Thank you very much, Silvia. So what should you expect today from this meeting? I think we have, as Silvia shown, a lot of different stuff. I'll be talking a little bit on how I've seen and how we can share what we did over the past 12 months, but also some outlook for the next year. And then it's so important to go back to our strategic commitments and to our values, and of course, to share some questions. Well, first of all, welcome to Jonathan. He's been with us almost 5 or 6 months, but he will introduce himself, and I think he's a great addition to the team. For the time being, let me just go back and give you my view on how the last 12 months have gone. And the current question that I get is, how did we do? Was it good? Was it not good? I think we did great. We did great. The first 12 months of the new version of Team Blue 0.2 went really great. But the question that we should ask ourselves is, can we do even better? Of course we can. We can always do better. And I think we are here for the long run. It's not just a one-year win. No, we want to be on a winning streak. And when you are on a winning streak, you lose some and you win some, but in general, we want to win as many games as possible, and over the years, we want to continue improving. So last year was great. We'll end the year in a very good shape, but the challenges going forward are going to be always bigger. The market is difficult, but we are great. Our competitors are pushing even more, but we have to fight back. Let me give you some honorable mentions for the last year. I think the first one that comes to my mind is we are expanding the group even more. And you've seen, and later on, there will be an introduction that a new company, MaxCluster, joined the family in July. And I think the group expansion is one of the strategic commitments that is so important for our growth that I wanted to mention it first. Why? Because we had been lacking some of their activities over the last 6 to 8 months. We worked so hard to create all the opportunities, and what is going to happen, and I'm so happy to announce it, that over the next few months, we'll be announcing more and more great companies joining Team Blue. So this is something that I'm really happy about, and then all of us will be celebrating as new great companies will join Team Blue. I think at the same time, we did a lot of work on transforming and improving our group over the last 12 months. These activities are not over yet, but we would really want to put an end or to go into a stable state into next year. So in the next meeting, we'll tell you how we want to progress for 2024. for the time being, we still have a few more months of moving forward to the new organization. I think over the last 12 months, it's been very visible, the development that we had on products. We've created the product units, and in turn, we have launched into many more brands some of the flagship products that are so important to us. And this is a first achievement. There will be many more in the years and months to come. And I think last but not least, we are starting to use common tools. And common tools also means ways of communicating better between teams, between groups, between regions, between all of us. And I think, just to mention a few, we are going into development with a new environment for developers at Team Blue level. We are launching and deploying the HR system, so the Bob, which is becoming so important for communicating, and many more things to really create a common platform for all of us. So this, I think, are some of the things that we did. Of course, I cannot mention all of them, but what made me really proud, and I think we are creating a real strong base to go in 2024 and the next years, as I said, to face all the challenges that we'll have to confront ourselves with, but at the same time, I will be able to win all of them. One last point. So next year, I really hope that we'll keep growing as we've grown this year. But more importantly, that we will have a very enjoyable workplace and a bigger Team Blue, and becoming one Team Blue altogether. So with this, I'll leave you to Jonathan. So thank you very much. And
thanks, Claudio. Just to correct Claudio, firstly, I haven't been here nearly 6 months. It's 4 months, even though it does seem like longer in mainly a good way. So I thought I'd spend just a quick minute introducing myself. The calculator in the middle is fairly obvious. I'm an accountant. I add things up. I've added things up in many companies, telecoms companies, both startups and very large businesses. Team Blue immediately appealed to me because it brings both the excitement and the entrepreneurship of the smaller businesses, but also the scale and complexity of large businesses. So it was an obvious choice for me. For those on the call wondering what the weird pictures are, I just thought I'd try and explain something about me from a personal perspective. So the picture on the top right, the relatively young lady is my wife, Emma. She's a professional physique athlete. She's the reigning Miss Universe. I would say that technically makes me Mr. Universe.
Absolutely.
Others may think different. I'm also a qualified racing driver. I raced for around 15 years. In truth, I crashed more races than I won, but it was enjoyable all the same. I've also got 3 teenage kids, so I swapped the race car for basically a taxi now. I'm an unpaid taxi driver at the weekends. The picture on the bottom left, hopefully to you, is not a picture of me with my top off, but it is my aim in life. I'm fitness obsessed, so I'm trying to reverse the aging process. So for those that have seen the film Benjamin Button, that's my aim. I'm not sure I'm ever going to get to Brad Pitt status, but I'll do my best not to age. So that's the personal stuff. If we go to the next slide, I'll just give you a quick update on the financial performance. I think, if there was a takeaway, how we're doing, I would say pretty well. And that assessment is against the really high bar that we set ourselves as a company. We don't just intend to grow, we always intend to grow on a double-digit basis and outperform our main competitors, and we are still doing that. The pretty part of the statement is we're not quite hitting our ambitious target, certainly not for revenue. That doesn't mean it's been a bad year so far for us, but it is getting harder and harder to grow at the same rate in our mature markets, particularly where we've already got high market share. So gaining new customers is tougher and tougher, and hence the need and the real focus now on product enhancement. So selling more products, better products to our customers to drive our revenues up. and make sure that we give our customers actually the product sets that they want and need. Our M&A pipeline becomes really important as well. Building that breadth of product capability in new markets, increasingly you'll see becomes a bigger proportion of our top line growth. So overall revenue, yeah, good, but need to continue pushing on product and M&A definitely. Cost, I would say, is where it gets really exciting. You know, when we talk cost efficiency, this is not something that, you know, the accountants in the dark room should be focused on. This is for everybody. You know, we pride ourselves in this business around being entrepreneurs. Smart entrepreneurs don't just focus on how many customers they can get, how many additional products they can create. They focus on efficiency, innovation. So that's caring, in our case, about every euro that we spend. And it's not the boring stuff. This is the really kind of important stuff, because every euro we save by finding different ways to do things, more efficient, more automation, that's money that we can reinvest in creating better products for our customers, creating a better service experience. And you create what I would call a virtuous circle of activity there, which leads to more and more top line growth and more profitability. You know, the kind of business that we want to be in. So, you know, this concept of about being cost entrepreneurs is something that you'll hear me talk about whenever I do these calls and on the other update calls also. I should also say on cost, you know, I'm very conscious that we've had to make some relatively tough prioritization calls this year. So thanks for everybody's help with doing that. It is an important part of our growth story that, you know, our intention is to create what we call operational leverage, which is a fancy term really for saying that we want our top line revenue to grow at a faster rate than our costs. And this is something that we should be able to do and are increasingly doing as we scale the business. So what does it mean on the little dials in terms of profit and cash? Yeah, you know, we've mitigated some of our top line kind of plan deficit by saving some money and being more efficient. So our expectation at the moment as we go towards the end of the year is we shouldn't be too far away from our plan on profit and cash. You know, and I've included a comment on there. It's always important as we grow to make sure that we're generating profit and cash as we grow. So just to finalize, you know, summing it up, I think it is a very good result. Certainly when you look at how we've grown year to year, I think it's great. When you compare us to our competitors, we're outperforming them, we're beating them. But we need to continue to push that top line growth through product enhancement and the M&A pipeline, and then really increasingly start to think creatively about how we can keep costs on track. Because that's where I believe, being an accountant, the true competitive advantage will come. So that was it from me. Quick update. Hope you enjoyed the pictures. Over to Silvia on
Claudio.
Claudio.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Yes, so I would say, like, for the first time in a year, we've had quite an outlook and an understanding of how also financial results are coming through. And I think it's important, at least every 6 months, we'll probably do that regularly to give you a view on what is going really well, what we have to care about. And I think overall, as we said earlier, one thing is like the financial results that we set ambitious targets and we try and we strive to get there. Another thing is what are we really building? What kind of value are we building into our business, into our teams and people, so that we can stay here for the long run? And this is really what the strategic commitments that we wrote a year ago are. And today we'll be exploring 3 of them, and we'll start with something that I mentioned also earlier: accelerate the expansion of Team Blue. And now we have a good welcome to them, a short video from MaxCluster, so that all of you will also know who they are and what they do.
I'm Sebastian Ringel. I'm one of the 2 founders of MaxCluster. MaxCluster was founded in 2011. Right now we have 75 employees and we are located in Paderborn.
We are the e-commerce hoster for all of those who achieved a lot and aim for more. I'm Ben Lippert, the other CEO and service lead of MaxCluster.
Our goal is to be the best e-commerce hoster in Germany.
We define the future of e-commerce hosting. By specializing in e-commerce, we are able to deliver highest performance and unparalleled reliability even in peak.
Paderborn is located in Ostwestfalen. People in Ostwestfalen are grounded, feel very responsible, and we also deliver in most cases more than we promise.
Our customers love us because we are flexible, which is outstanding. We act in benefit of our clients to deliver outstanding experiences for them. This is reflected in our Net Promoter Score of 72.
We built the company completely from scratch. We have been limited by money and people. This is also the reason why pragmatism is a part of our DNA.
With 1,300 customers, we are able to define best practices and build unique features that add competitive advantages for them. We believe that customer happiness can only be achieved by ensuring employee happiness. These are two sides of one coin. We do a lot to ensure that our employees are happy and go the extra mile. By doing so, they deliver outstanding service experiences for our customers.
Our restaurant is part of our culture and is also important for our success. We have an everyday team event, so I can meet every day our colleagues personally. For the next years, we want to be the best e-commerce hoster even more. And I know Hypernode and Hypex have the same goal in the Benelux region. I absolutely believe that we can build up the best e-commerce hosting in Europe, and together with Hypex, Hypernode and Team Blue, we can achieve more.
So it's really great to see our organization growing, and welcome MaxCluster. So going from accelerating our M&A pipeline to caring about our environment and each other. I can share that we have achieved another big step towards our high environmental, social and governance ambitions. Which is our impact report, which was recently launched. So let me give the word to Vanessa, who will share a little bit more on this as our Group General Counsel and ESG Director.
Thank you, and hi everyone. Today I only want to talk about one thing, and that's the impact report, which we published on the Team Blue website this week. And it's a big achievement because with this impact report, we want to be very transparent about what we did in the past and also what our impact is towards people, towards planet, but we also want to be very bold about our ambitions going forward. Big thanks to everyone who helped me getting this across. Now, this impact report, we can also call it a sustainability report or an ESG report, but we call it an impact report because it has impact on its own. With this, we want to show what we really are capable of and how we want to have that impact on our communities, on our customers, on our employees, and this to become the most loved web services company. So please share this massively on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram. Share it with your customers by email, etc., to just show how genuine we are about this. Now about marketing, by the way, because I know that our customers do not necessarily look at the Team Blue website, they look at the brand website. And one of the things that is on the agenda is where we provide a marketing playbook on sustainability, so you can put all these cool stuff and all these achievements and ambitions on your own website. So more about that very soon. One section in the impact report tells us something about governance and how we walk the talk on sustainability within the group. And one of the recent achievements in this area is the launch of a group-wide corporate governance charter, which helps or supports leadership to make conscious decisions. And the next step on the agenda is to publish a group-wide code of conduct and whistleblowing tool and policy, this by the end of the year. A call to action from my side is, in everyday decision making, please make sure that sustainability and integrity are your guiding principles. In the people section of the report, you can read about our past achievements in this area, but there's definitely one that I want to highlight today, and that's the Around the World Challenge, which we completed successfully just before the summer period, and this with the contribution of almost half of the staff of Team Blue. One of the next steps is that we look at some core processes, for instance, the hiring process, and to make this work inclusive. And about that, I can already reveal that you will be invited to a hangout where we will discuss about our diversity and inclusion ambition going forward. To show that we care about our SME community, there is a specific section that talks about the Team Blue ecosystem and how we want to expand that with more value-adding tools. Now, as you might know, the M&A machine is going at high speed today, so a lot of value-adding tools will come in very soon. But we are also innovating internally, where AI-driven tools are currently being built to offer to our customers. Now, in this ecosystem, one of the next tasks is to map our global supply chain and to understand where we can make it more sustainable, and also have some guidelines going forward when we want to introduce new suppliers. And maybe one of those new suppliers could be even AI tools that help us in our day-to-day jobs. Did you know that we have a dedicated AI working group that is looking into your user cases? So if you're very keen of using a tool within your department yourself, please reach out to them and they can guide you further. In the report, you can also read about our environmental friendly practices, but one thing that really stands out, which is really a clear commitment towards our lenders, our banks, our employees and customers, is that we want to start our net zero journey. This means that we want to reduce our carbon footprint as much as possible. And whatever is left, we will then use offsetting initiatives to reduce that to a zero level. One of those offsetting initiatives is something that we already do today, because we are funding trees all over the world, and we are now reaching more than 4,000 trees that are funded, and every month 1,000 trees are added to that. Now, how will we actually kick off this net zero journey? Because this is a big project. Well, we will start with a pilot project in the UK and then list all the actions, all the best practices in a handy playbook, which we can then roll out over the rest of Team Blue. If you want to receive more news or updates on this matter, please tune in on our dedicated sustainability Slack channel called Team Blue Sustainability Hub. As a final note, let's go beyond in 2024 with one code of conduct, one inclusive workforce, one sustainable ecosystem, one sustainable operation, and one sustainable voice. Thanks so much.
Yeah, so it's really great to see that we are progressing also in this very important area. So if we look at the next strategic commitment, this is one which is, of course, very close to my heart, happy and proud employees. I think what is important is to share here that great people make a great company. And everyone, you know, in his or her way contributes to our 7 strategic commitments. And we are really, you know, happy that we have a lot of new people joining, but we also should focus on our existing population. and celebrate also special moments. So I would like to take the opportunity in this setting to celebrate a number of our colleagues who have had a very special anniversary and put them a little bit in the spotlight and congratulate them with their achievement.
Thank you. And as you've seen, we've got a lot of you that have been with us, or with, of course, the companies that then created Team Blue for so many years. And that's really important because there's a common thread that then unites us all and makes us become what we are, but also we are looking forward to what we're going to be. Next, we're going to talk about some of the values that we defined together last year and that we want to reinforce on a continuous basis as we go forward. What we hear next is about, I would say, one of the values that is very close to me and I really care about, which is customer first. Our customers are the reason why we're here, and in this short video you'll see how we've been looking after a very important customer in Belgium.
Steeds meer bedrijven engageren zich om ook hun zakelijk verkeer duurzamer te organiseren. Voor korte verplaatsingen naar het buitenland wordt daarom vaker de trein genomen. Benirail biedt Europese spoorwegmaatschappijen en reisaanbieders een platform aan dat de ticketverkoop voor internationale treinreizen vlot en efficiënt regelt.
Als Benirail zijn wij een joint venture van de Belgische en Nederlandse spoorwegen. We vieren dit jaar onze 20e verjaardag en zijn dus al 20 jaar actief in het ontwikkelen van IT-systemen, het beheren van IT-systemen voor internationale treinreizen. We zijn uiteraard gestart met een focus op directe treinreizen vanuit België en Nederland. Maar intussen bieden we een heel netwerk aan van treinoperatoren in meer dan 15 Europese landen.
De uitdaging bij internationaal treinverkeer is het combineren van de IT-systemen van meerdere spoorwegmaatschappijen tot één betrouwbaar verkoopsplatform dat door alle klanten geïntegreerd kan worden.
Onze klantenportefeuille is vrij divers, met enerzijds spoorwegmaatschappijen zoals de NBS en de Nederlandse spoorwegen en ook anderzijds online bookingwebsites, reisagentschappen en ook corporate travel agencies. En voor elk van deze klantengroepen gaan we eigenlijk oplossingen op maat gaan leveren. Voor zakelijke reizen bieden we enerzijds een API aan, die men gemakkelijk in hun systemen kan gaan integreren, en anderzijds ook een gebruiksvriendelijke frontend, waarmee dat ze hun reizen kunnen boeken.
Voor spoorbedrijven en reisaanbieders is een flexibel en betrouwbaar ticketplatform cruciaal. Daarvoor ging Benirail te rade bij hosting- en cloud-specialist Combel.
De verwachtingen die we hadden bij een partner zoals Combel is om het juiste evenwicht te vinden tussen enerzijds de schaalbaarheid en de flexibiliteit van de IT-infrastructuur die we nodig hadden, maar anderzijds om ze ook te helpen op het vlak van IT-kostenbeheersing en het aanbieden van een hoog IT-veiligheidsniveau. Daarnaast hadden we nog een paar specifieke vragen en vereisten om de nodige vrijheid te hebben om de rolverdeling bij het beheren van die systemen tussen Benirail teams en Combel teams goed in te richten, zodat die goed matcht bij onze eigen capabilities van onze eigen organisatie.
Combel verzorgt de hosting van de IT-infrastructuur en applicaties voor Benirail. In dit geval werd gekozen voor een hybride cloudomgeving met bijzondere aandacht voor cyberveiligheid.
Op basis van de gesprekken met Benirail hebben onze solutions-architecten een private cloud-omgeving voorzien die plaats biedt aan enerzijds een virtuele serverpark, daarnaast een afgescheiden managed Kubernetes-omgeving en tenslotte eigenlijk met direct links naar de externe cloud providers. Er werd heel veel aandacht besteed aan veiligheid. Naast het gebruik van next generation firewalls hebben we ook een cyber threat management systeem in plaats. Dat betekent dat we sensoren plaatsen in het netwerk van de klant en dat eigenlijk 24/7 die alerts worden gemonitord en gelogd en eigenlijk worden opgevolgd door een team van security specialisten.
Die migratie is heel vlot en transparant verlopen. Dat betekent zonder impact voor onze eindgebruiker, de klant thuis die een internationaal treinticket wil boeken, maar ook voor onze eigen interne ontwikkelteams die konden blijven verder werken op de processen die zij gewoon waren.
Yeah, so the next value that we wanted to talk to you about was around trusted collaboration. So very much as the name suggests, this is about our teams, everybody in our business working closely together in an open, respectful, transparent way. So we've just got a very nice film to show you here just to explain what we mean by that.
Hola a todos, soy Cata Subieta, OKR Champion de Nominalia y Amen.fr. En Nominalia y Amen.fr llevamos más de 1 año y medio trabajando con OKRs y consiguiendo unos resultados espectaculares, tanto en términos de negocio como de motivación de las personas que trabajamos aquí. Esta metodología OKR es un sistema de gestión de objetivos en el que se establecen metas tanto personales como de equipo, alineadas a las metas de empresa, y se va midiendo el progreso semana a semana, tanto cualitativa como cuantitativamente, todo de manera muy transparente y muy colaborativa. Con esto se logra un mayor enfoque de las personas y una alineación de los diferentes departamentos para conseguir juntos un objetivo común. Una de las particularidades que hemos introducido dentro de los OKRs y que nos ha dado muy buenos resultados es la gamificación. Utilizamos los juegos y concursos para motivar a la gente a dar el máximo de sí, además de divertirse y a la vez tener un mayor desempeño al estar compitiendo en un equipo para ganar un premio normalmente muy atractivo. El último juego que organizamos y el más complejo que hemos hecho hasta ahora fue el Monopoly de Team Blue. El objetivo de esta gamificación fue poner a todos los equipos a trabajar para impulsar al máximo las renovaciones de nuestros productos. Para ello creamos un Monopoly basado en las empresas de Team Blue, donde en vez de comprar calles y edificar casas y hoteles, teníamos que comprar países, empresas de Team Blue y abrir oficinas. Fueron 3 semanas muy locas en las que todos los equipos trabajamos a contrarreloj para conseguir el máximo de productos renovados y así ganar dinero para poder comprar más empresas de Team Blue y enriquecernos con ellas. Es preciso destacar que los equipos de estas gamificaciones suelen estar conformados por personas de diferentes departamentos, de manera que cada uno puede aportar a su equipo su know-how. Además, también es una gran manera de fomentar el buen ambiente en el trabajo, creando vínculos entre personas de diferentes departamentos que con el teletrabajo difícilmente llegaríamos a conocernos. La gamificación del Monopoly fue una experiencia muy compleja y retadora. Pero lo importante es que las personas de Amen.fr y Nominalia lo pasamos muy bien y los resultados de ambas empresas fueron muy positivos. Eso sí, si queréis introducir la gamificación en vuestra empresa, os recomendamos empezar por un juego mucho más sencillo. Hemos hecho ya mucha gamificación en estos OKRs, así que si necesitáis ayuda, preguntadnos sin problema.
Hola, soy Manuela Becerra, directora de Nominalia y Amen. Hoy quiero compartir con vosotros nuestra experiencia en la implementación de la metodología OKR. Esta ha revolucionado nuestro modelo de trabajo, nos ha permitido conseguir resultados increíbles gracias al establecimiento de objetivos ambiciosos y consensuados con todos. La gamificación también ha sido una de las claves del éxito. Nos ha permitido crear un ambiente colaborativo y divertido a la vez. Si os animáis a implementar esta metodología, no dudéis en contactar con nosotros. Estaremos encantados de ayudaros. Hasta pronto.
Yeah, so it's actually really nice because I've had the pleasure of spending some time with the team in Portugal to learn on, in Spain, to learn on what they've done, and it's actually very impressive. So much passion, so much dedication. Which also leads to actual business results. So it's a combination of many factors which have been very successful. So please reach out and listen to their experiences because they have done a really great job. So let's go to two other values, which are openness and respect. And I would like to show an example what we introduced in July, connected to Friendships Day. And that is our Team Blue Match and Meet. This is a Slack channel where different sets of people are connected to each other every 2 weeks. In a match and meet session to introduce themselves to each other. It's random, so you never know who you're connected to, and it's a really nice way of getting to know other people outside of your own core circle. So we have at the moment 130 people in that Slack channel, but we are with, almost 2,200 people in Team Blue. So I would also invite and encourage you all to join that Slack channel and to meet other people in our great company. And I would also like to give a big, a shout out to the Dutch team, because this is actually an initiative which was taken in the Netherlands and developed by two guys, which is really nice. So again, check it out on Slack, join the team and get to know the people around you. Maybe just before we go into the questions, we have the Q&A open for you to share your questions. We will not go into those now, but we will answer them later, because a couple of weeks ago we have put a post in Slack to ask, anyone wants to ask a question, and we have actually 3 questions. Where people made the efforts to record a video, ask us a question. So we will be answering these now. And upfront, thanks for the efforts, really nice. So I think the first question is actually for you, Claudio.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, sending greetings from Czech Republic, from Webnode. Hope you are doing fine. I just wanted to ask if there will be some kind of project that will unify the KPIs and methodology that we use in our companies across Team Blue Group. I mean, at this point, I believe you are comparing companies against each other. And since we don't have any unification, the data could be really different. So I was wondering about that. Thanks.
Well, thank you very much for this question, Roman. I think it's a very important topic, not only sharing similar KPIs across all regions, brands and businesses, but also having a unified approach to certain strategy and techniques that we want to use in various commercial areas, in product areas. And I would say I'm quite proud to say that we have achieved a level of data unification which is very remarkable. There's been a tremendous effort over the last 12-24 months. It's not been easy, but now we have a view on all the numbers that are produced by the various brands, which are extremely detailed. And the commercial teams, the marketing teams and sales teams, but also the customer care teams that interact across all our brands with customers are able to actually have a very, very good view on what they are doing, but they are also able through their directors, through like the various functions, to compare how others are doing things, so that not only there is a stimulus to potentially do better, but to also learn where we are performing in the best way and how can we get there. This is the great advantage of being such a a distributed and experienced group. Anyone can tap into the experience of others. We can share the numbers, but also we can share the practices. And literally, there are various brands that today are working together very closely, although the markets might be different. So the Czech Republic is certainly different than the Netherlands, than Denmark, but there are some common threads that we can put together and just improve all together.
Hello team builders, my name is Dani Razan. I'm a proud leader of PPAT. I just wanted to ask, what are the action plans in order to improve the eNPS? Thank you all.
Yeah, thanks for this question, Alireza. Now I will take ownership of answering this one. I think if we look at our first group survey that we did last year in November, we determined a number of attention areas where we would focus on the group level. So those attention areas were rewards, career, recognition, well-being, and internal comms. And then in June of this year, we did another short version of our One Voice survey where we focused on 3 different areas, which was, of course, our eNPS, management support, and the transformation. If we look at the initiatives that were taken last year based on those 5 areas, I can share that we've been working really hard on creating and building and designing a job career framework for Team Blue. And you can imagine that it's actually quite complex because we are a combination of so much, let's say, diversity with all of our brands, all of our different organizations, but we are getting there. We are making progress. So this will also lead a little bit into the career topic, because when you have a clear career framework, you can also look at, okay, what kind of opportunities can we offer? Another element which is really great of this initiative is that we are able to have really valuable benchmarks on the local level to determine, okay, how is our rewards structure at the moment? So these are actually quite some steps that we're taking. It's taking a little bit longer time because of the size and complexity of our organization, but we are really making good steps in that area. Another thing what I can share as well is that we are working on also in the area of development on designing programs to educate our population. One of the big topics that we are working on is a leadership program, which will be launched in the beginning of next year for all of the leaders in our organization. We have an element focused on language improvement. So we have a pilot at the moment, which is launched to provide English classes to people. If I look at well-being, then of course I can share that we had this great Around the World challenge where a lot of people participated, a lot of passion. I even saw a remark of someone saying this is the real feeling of being one Team Blue, so that's actually great. If I look at, for example, recognition, then I think we had a great example of putting a big number of our colleagues in the spotlight who had a very special service anniversary. We have Bob, which is providing an opportunity to give kudos for a job well done. If we look at internal comms, we are really working on the feedback that you provided, that sometimes our communication is a little bit high over and we have to translate it to what does it mean for me in my country or in my department. So we have actually created an internal comms community where we are closely working with all of the countries and brands to translate our communication on a level which also makes it really purposeful and meaningful for all of you. So there are a lot of things going on, and maybe you don't see quick results yet. Some things take longer. Some things are very easy, like the Around the World challenge. But we are acting on your feedback. And also this time in June, there was a big, let's say, feedback element on the communication on transformation. We are working on that to make it much more, again, concrete and specific on an individual level. So we are taking actual steps in that direction. Next to that, and then I will close. I think what is also happening at the moment after the survey that took place in June is that the countries are really looking at, okay, how can we increase employee satisfaction? What can we do on a local base? Because we can take a lot of initiatives from the group level, but there are also some local topics which need to be addressed. So every country at the moment is looking at, okay, what are the areas of improvement? I know that there are roundtables taking place, conversations with individuals to see, okay, what can we do to make our company even better than we are now? So maybe a lot of information, but again, there's also a lot of work that we are doing, and we will keep you informed on the progress in the coming months. And maybe I can also come back on that in the next All Staff. So let's go to the next question.
Hello, Team Blue. My name is Sjoerd, the SEO specialist from the Central Marketing Team in the Netherlands. I have a question. As I see the mission statement, we support our clients with technical toolings and services to fulfill their potential and connection to the digital world. What can we expect from online marketing services that some of our brands give to their clients as a possible future product or business unit throughout all of Team Blue?
Thank you, Sjoerd. I think it's an excellent question, and it ties, I would say, at this point very well with our group expansion strategy and M&A strategy. Why am I saying this? Because we certainly have some brands that today offer third-party tools to specific customer bases, but we think that is now the point where we need to enter those markets directly, to make sure that we also own the IP, and then we can build a better and better solution with our customers. So we have a specific work group in our M&A team looking at potential great companies that can join Team Blue, and hopefully in the next 6 to 12 months that would be the case. Of course, when we go out and we look for great companies, it's a process that might take time, but it's certainly within our strategy. So look out for new announcements. Hopefully this time next year we'll be here talking about some good product that has joined the Team Blue. And I would say with this, we probably coming to the end of this session. I think it's been very informative. We talked about many different things. We haven't mentioned all of the strategic commitments or all the values, but one final remark that I wanted to make. We are in September. I think all of us have come back from holidays, whether you've taken them in July or August, very energized. We know that the last 4 months of the year are usually the most intense ones, because not only we have to serve our customers, we have to work closely with them, we are still working on things that need to be completed by the end of the year, trying to achieve the last stretch of the results, but we're also building our plans into the future. And a lot of you are involved in the budgeting processes, but also into what do we do next year in the future. So I would say, let's do this with the pace and momentum. This is one of the other important things that we wanted to have at Team Blue, always caring for what we are doing and doing it, putting the extra effort. And with this, I thank Sylvia, I thank Jonathan, and we'll see you in December.
Thank you, bye.
Thank you, bye.